The reason we exist is because you cannot stay ahead of all threats. So what we do is we block by default.
Hey, what's going on? You're here with E-Tech Millie, and we are now at the end of week 1. And I would like to do a recap on what we've learned. And also all we're going to do after getting a recap of what we learned this week, we will be going into Amazon and finding more items that we could play around with and to learn and train with. All right. So that's what we have up for the agenda, and then there's going to be one video by about like 19 minutes long on how to cut and things of that nature. So one thing that we figured out is the 6 skills that we need to become the best car rappers that we can be, and that will be the first 6 skill will be the prepping. The prepping is the portion where you're car washing, you're detailing, you're getting all the nooks, cranny, little debris out, and you may be using things like alcohol, clay bars, and just Dawn and chemo guys, microfiber tiles. That's where is the mat handling, and mat handling does not start when you just getting you open it up. Mat handling, in my opinion, is the so that it messes with the adhesiveness of the wrap. That's one thing that you have to be sure of. So with little racks meant for rolls, and then when we get to the next level, as far as really making some money wrapping, if we do get to that point, we will then eventually have at least one of them inside the study. So it might, depending on if it's like during the summertime, I would then take the wraps that are in the garage and I'll put it into my study, and then once it gets back to around October, then I will take that out, and then I'll hold it in the garage, because within the months of October to like March, around March, that's what time things starts heating up in Georgia. So whatever time works for your place, and you need to do it like in Arizona, you'll have to do it. You're gonna have to hold it inside. That's it, because Arizona's always hot. It's like 110 degrees, like year round dang there. Having it in the inside and only having the wrap on the outside, and then from there. But yeah, that's mat knowledge, and then just understanding the quality and how you can treat certain brands and really material, because just because it has a brand does not mean it's always going to be the same level. Let's face it, stuff tends to change that's just what I'm saying about when we talk about just believing it's great just because of the brand. You got to be able to see with your own eyes and be able to. The third skill will be heat control. I'm happy to actually use a heat gun of whatever you're trying, most part, and the part that you really want to hit, so over it, and then warm up smoothly, knowing what type of heat it should be on. Again, what we have a all right, so what we have in the back where it lets you know what temperature it is. You should not go over 220 when using this. So when using yours, go one that has a control setting. Don't use one that does not. All right. This is how you actually smooth things out with the wrapping glove and a smoothie squeegee with a buffer or without, and then go from inside to outside and just make it make sense. So that right there is the squeegee techniques. Then another skill that we will be really emphasizing in future ones, which is the biggest ones, because when you do the flat surface of a hood, to my understanding, it's probably the easiest thing to do versus something with curves on it. Something with curvature, something with edges, something with corners. Those are things that you're going to have to figure out and master. And last but not least, estimating how much each job is going to cost. That is essential. So that is the 6 skills that we need to master, and we're going to be doing that next week. Next week, our plan is we're going to do a lot of outdoor activities as far as getting vehicles ready to wrap. I at least want to practice it 10 times before actually doing it. I might do it and then do a hood one time, but at the same time, the hood should be done in 3rd week. All right. So outside that, we are going to also be doing 2 items. And it's one more skill that we're going to be practicing. Well, actually, it's more or less like we're just going to be getting familiar with tools. That'll be the main thing. We're going to be getting familiar with tools, and then we're going to wrap about 1 or 2 items. And then we are to essentially do 10 car washing, detailing type practices, drills. I call them drills, but it's just, I'm going to do it 10 times just to get good at getting that stuff out. And then yeah, we got more stuff coming, but right now that's all we got for right now. So let's go ahead and get into the items that we need to get. All right, so what I like to do is do real life stuff, and the reason I say this because me over here telling you it might cost this, might cost that, shoot, you know how it go. One day is great and the next day is ugly. So we just gonna go ahead and see what we can find right now. So first things first is a wrapping pin, and this is for car wraps. So you see how they got their little pins. So what these people are offering, this is a knife. So yeah, 2 pins for $2.50. Okay, all right, whatever. After that, let's look. What else do we need? We need clay bar. There's different ones we can get, but I'm on a budget, so shoot. Now we on this one, 100 gram car clay bar, auto 4-pack for 100 gram. So I'm missing it. So are they saying? Because they feel like they're probably saying the same thing. Cleaning, detailing. Yeah, we're gonna go with this one. All right, so then we don't really need to get alcohol because alcohol is always around, so there's no need to even try to even find no alcohol. So same thing for down, we got that. As far as matte material, it is what it is. Primer, we need to get fishnet. I'm gonna hold off on looking for fishnet because technically speaking, with fishing net, I can find that at Walmart or wherever when I'm moving around this weekend. I do have some tasks to do this weekend. So this is primer 98. Ooh, expensive little bugger. Catch it for the 25 or less. That's what we looking for. But at the same time, they're gonna have that stuff that has nothing to do with anything. Alright. So adhesion promoter 2-pack. Okay, this is what we need for the 14, and we get 2 containers. I like having the smaller containers with the same amount as a big container. If one look at it and see what it looks like, down for like 10 to determine the heat of the around. But spray bottles and blades, qualities and options. Oh, you know what? That's what the Snitty's about, ain't it? Yeah, that's what the different blades. Or 2 Snitties for $7. All right, this is more up our alley right here. And Snitty Safety Vinyl Film Cutting Tool with blade. All right, and it's a 2-pack. Hey, we're winning. All right, and then the knee pads. I know at certain points I'll be using my wrestling knee pads. But yeah, more or less, these will probably be the knee pads that will be needed. So if anybody wanted to get their knee pads right now from online, they can get it for like $25 or so. That's what it looked like it's gonna run. So, and then turtle wax was another thing. We're not gonna worry about turtle wax. The buffer component. And it'll be all right, these are the buffer components. More like a finish. Yeah, more like a mirror finish. Yeah, I gotta make sure I get the right one. Yeah, I'm over here trying to figure out the best buffing. Once I figure out what yeah. That's not gonna do enough for me though. You get like yeah, so right now what I'm trying to figure out like when it comes down to how it's gonna fit on this. Yeah. We'll look at that later. But for right now, we're going to put that one on hold. We're going to put that on freeze. Where's that wish list at? So I'm not even on my account. So I'm not going to worry about that. But I do have the list here. So in my head, in my mind, I know what I got to do. So that's that buffer. $7. Let's do it. Yeah, we're gonna come back to that. So let's go ahead and what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and piece as far as edging and things of that nature. So once we're done with that, we're gonna be done for the week, and then during the weekend, I will be trying to get the garage up and up. If I don't get it by the weekend, then I'll probably we still do some time in there, but hopefully.
I'm going to actually talk trimming so far. So what I've done here is I've trimmed in the taillight area. Super easy. Obviously, the paint isn't very nice in here. We just want to be a little bit careful. Don't press too hard. But as you can see, I did a really nice corner there, and it comes up over top. There's no wrinkles. There's no overstretching or anything like that. There's a couple of debris things under there, but that's fine. When it comes to here now, so when we wrap a bumper or we wrap a panel where it meets another panel and we don't have a really large gap, this is a really tight gap since it's a BMW, what we want to do is always mask off the opposite panel, alright? Let me actually snap off a blade. I'm going to trim, I'm going to find that line of tape, yeah? I'm going to trim first one time. So no, I didn't make it, I get it done.
Show you
The tape a lot easier, alright? The top corner here, what we do is we just I don't want to cut the film tool I have. I don't want to cut the film tool I have. I had it. It's probably on my pouch and I don't know where that is. So I had it. It's probably on my pouch and I don't know where that is. So if you notice the trunk, it does have silicone. If you notice the trunk, it does have silicone on the trunk, and I'm not about to try to remove the silicone. So what we did is we just wrapped over it. This is the right way to do it. Don't ever put silicone on your car. It's a real huge pain, nightmare to take off. But the right way to do it. Don't ever put silicone on your car. It's a real huge pain, nightmare to take off. But it's there and we wrapped over it. It's fine because I did this last time and I wrapped over it and then I stuck this. It's there and we wrapped over it. It's fine because I did this last time and I wrapped over it and then I stuck the spoiler to it and it's totally fine. So let's get back to business over here and finish this off. So when we get down to this corner over, and we want the bumper to do this. You can do it in exactly the same fashion that I just did it in right there. What I'm going to do is, and you'll be able to see, the phone's ringing again. Let me just see who that is. Get it to the bottom edge because this bumper runs very flat underneath. If you notice that you can still see color from like 20 feet back, then go in there. Then we'll go over it one more time. Emphasis with heat on the corners. Cool. This is my little wrap stick. You can use a tinting triangle for this, something that's really narrow. And we're going to push in a little bit further. So you can see how I pull the vinyl off edge because we're laying the film in. Do not drag the wrap stick. It will cut through the vinyl prematurely and we don't want that to happen. Cool. I'm not putting a lot of tension on it, just enough. Let's put the wrap stick there and then choose a side to start on. I'll start as we can more on the top side edge, alright? So depending on this gap and depending on the car that you're doing, I need to switch spots with you. You may want to loosen the bumper for this, though it isn't necessary most of the time. Alright, so see how I have less likely to slip with the blade. So as we get to the end, we have to be a little more cautious and then come right out. Okay, let's take. We use the thicker squeegee. So we're going to heat it. So when I go over the corners, I round them like that, alright? Add a touch of heat, and that finishes it up really nice. So when we look at the corner, it generally looks really good. And then we've got a beautiful wrap. A little tape stuck in there. There we go. Cool, so we have a nice clean cut.
Okay guys, your car insurance company does not want you to know you can do this.
Big chunk of your money.
And we have a nice clean corner. This is all covered by the taillight. Let's talk about the rest of this now. So what we need to do is we have this area here, which I've already laid into. I'm just going to take my blade and run it in the recess. Cool. So this has all been repainted. We don't have to worry too much about it. It's really messed up, and the rib bumper had a bit of mistakes on it as well, like some paint coming off and stuff like that, which I had to sand down. So we're gonna do our best, obviously, to always not cut things, but if I happen to make a mistake on this, not that big of a deal. I'm just always trying to the vehicle, or hand mounts to the vehicle, and we're using it as a guide, all right? That's my hand, you hear, there we go. Sometimes you'll get hung up on like a little pebble in the recess, just because the blade is really fine and it's going to go a little bit further in to these recessed areas than the vinyl will. So again, what do we need to do? We need to go over this with heat. And then we're going to cut out these little light areas because I've done an inlay in them. This one I don't need to use the wrap stick. I can just use the more firm, wider squeegee. So you can see the paint has come off on this little spoiler, or diffuser, sorry. So you want to hit it with a bit of heat. This is the part where the paint came off. I did a pretty good job of sanding it down. You might see a little bit of a difference right there. I can kind of see it. I'm not a professional body guy, and if you have customers asking, don't pretend to be unless you are. But if it's something you feel comfortable doing and the customer feels comfortable giving that job to you, then cool. Saw a little bubble here. Let's get that out. There we go. All right. So now what we need to do, this is the last sensor over here. Cool. Now what we need to do is do our inlay area, or our recessed area. So I'm going to just push this in. This is for the tow hook. I'll cut that out after. And then this is our recess for where our inlay is. So I ran the inlay pretty far up to the top. We want to be a little cautious still, so I'm going to come a little bit lower. You can see the line. See how I'm just using my hand on the vehicle? Look how straight that cut is. As we get down to here, I'll be able to push in a little bit more and find my inlay for the very corner. Cool, it should be good. All right. Again, as I have less tension here, I can find where I need to cut to. Cool. So that should essentially fold down. Now, I've got, didn't make it, right? So I have a slight sliver, which is kind of a bummer actually, but I'm going to try to fix this right now. So this is troubleshooting slightly so I can have it make that top edge. And I'm gonna take the stretch from down here. I saw it shrink a little bit. Were you able to get that on camera before? Or I missed it? So there was a sliver of black showing up here. What I did with the top inlay is I came down a little bit lower. So again, I have a tiny sliver over there. I'm going to draw the film. So let's just see. I'll show you right now.
how I'm upping my lawn game this year. I've been trying to care for my lawn myself, but it's difficult to...
It's challenging when you're doing inlays because we don't actually know. So I'm going to stretch it across a little bit more, starting over here. There. So we don't have, all we have is tension pulling across when we're doing that. I'm stretching across this way. As long as I don't stretch too, what we're going to do is lay right in here first. I tried to take this out, but I think I have to remove the bumper, and I didn't want to remove the bumper just for that. So I'm just going to show you the one side. I'm going to do the other side off camera, but just wanted you guys to see how things can happen sometimes with your inlays. And I wanted you guys to see how the cutting goes and how to troubleshoot that kind of stuff, because it's important. It happens. So it wasn't completely game over, and I didn't have to stick a patch in there, because I never ever ever stick a patch in anything, regardless of what you might see on the internet. I never put a patch on anything, all right? So don't patch that doesn't make any sense and doesn't flow with the flow of the car. Go over with the soft edge first. Out. This is a black vehicle, so it's not the end of the world. We can go pretty much just under the light, and it looks like it has full coverage. Let's take that off. So now you can have a good look at what that looks like. I did this right now 10 times better than I did before. When I did this before, what I did was I put an inlay on the bottom, just because that made sense to me, and then overlapped it with the top piece. Because from when I started wrapping, was that everything always has to face down, but that's not the case. It looks a million times better this way than it did the other way. All right, guys, so that is trimming and cutting some areas of the vehicle and how we go about doing the inlay area. If I want to just finish this off, I'll do this quick. It's not difficult. Again, positioning your hand so that it's mounted. So what I do now is that once it starts to get flimsy for this piece, I hold on to it, and it creates tension on the film. It makes the cut that much cleaner if we have tension on the film. If the film is flopping around, it won't come out clean. Now what we can do is take the heat, press it in there, round it around, roll it around, sorry. Side of this, and call it a day. Next video, guys, is the front bumper. I believe we're gonna do some corners as well, so I'll do a separate video on these things in my videos, but maybe I'm not. So I'm gonna do specific videos just like this one for things like that. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Yeah, I just realized I was on mute. Yeah, it's all good.
You got declined again? If you don't